Hi, welcome to Claire's Cat. Today we're going to talk some more about databases and we're going to talk about primary keys and field types. So I've given you a cat table today. We have the cat ID, the cat's name, the cat's story, the number of injuries, and whether they have a microchip. It's a yes/no field, their date of birth, and a photo. Reminder of what fields and records are. A field is a column in the table, and a record is a row. Now, a primary key is a very useful field. In this table, you'll notice that there are two cats called Tom. Now, if we want all the data about a certain cat, we could say, find me all the data about Tom. But in this case, two records would come up, the first one and the third one. And that's a problem. So we need a better way to identify each cat in the table. And that's why we've created a field called cat ID. And each cat in the table will have a unique ID. So a primary key is a field in a table which is unique and which identifies a record in the table in a unique way. So if you have a number for the cat ID in this table, only one cat will come up. Now about data types. Each field needs to have a data type in a table, and choosing carefully is very important. If you do not choose carefully, your data can get changed and the accuracy of your data will not be great. So let's talk about all the different data types that you can use in a database. The first one is short text. It stores alphanumeric data. That means text containing letters and numbers. And it can store up to 255 characters. An example is names, addresses, categories, and so on. And in our cat table, the cat name is alphanumeric data and it's short text. Long text is also alphanumeric data. This one stores up to 1 gigabyte of text, of data. And an example is a long paragraph or a description. In our table, it's the cat's story. And in here, I've stored just a little bit of more information about each cat, a little bit of detail on their lives and what they like to do and don't like. The next one is number. This is numeric data. It can store an integer or a decimal number or a percentage or a currency. And it can be formatted, meaning that you can format it as a currency, for example, and then it would have a dollar sign in front. And in our cat table, the number of injuries is how many injuries the cat has had, would be a number. A date time would store appointments or booking dates and times, or in our example, a date of birth. A yes/no field will store a value that can only be true or false, or on or off, or yes or no, so only one of two values. And in our example, the microchip yes/no. Does the cat have a microchip or not? An auto number is a special type of field. It means that every time somebody types in new data for a new record, a new number is automatically generated for this field. It's sequential. So for example, if the cat table had 3 cats, like in the example below, and you typed in a new cat's name, it will automatically add one and the next cat ID will be 4. And it's usually also the primary key for the table. And in our example, of course, cat ID would be an auto number. An OLE object you won't really use much, but just so you know they exist. It's for when you want to store images or graphs or a bit of audio. And in our cat table, the cat's photo is an OLE object. So here are some examples to practice on. And if you want to pause the video now and think about it, I'm going to give you the answers on the next slide. An ID number for a table would be an auto number. A city is short text. A student's year or grade would be a number. Does a student like sport or not is a yes/no field. An order date is a date time. A price is a number. A photo, OLE object, and a telephone number is short text. Now remember that you might have been tempted to make a telephone number a number, but the reason it's short text is that most phone numbers start with a 0. If you make it into a number, the 0 will be lost when you store the telephone number. Here's some more examples of another table and the types of data that have been used. And we will see you next time.